yards, 5.3 a
Flag on the play if you're not subscribed to VonAllen Sports. But once you are, we'll make it up to your team in the fourth quarter. You're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now and join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go.
VonAllen Sports. VonAllen Sports.
What is up, guys? How y'all doing? So we've got a strange thing going on apparently. I tell you this much, I will never understand how YouTube works or how they send notifications to people or anything. I can't get a grasp on it, and I don't know. I just don't know anymore. With the way things have been, the way things that happen with YouTube, it's kind of concerning. I'm sorry, not with YouTube, Twitter. It's a bit concerning. Just a second. This side. Yeah, the things with Twitter. I just don't know anymore what's going on, how they're working things, how they're doing things. But so on two, let's say on so on December 11th, I uploaded a short. It got 1,500 views. Okay, then on the 16th, I uploaded a short, 293. Another one after that, 235. Then I uploaded a regular video, which got nothing, 124. A regular video, not a short, just a regular video. Then on December 22nd, I uploaded a video that got 1,000 views, and then one 6 hours later that got 1,600 views. And then I did the same thing yesterday, okay? Or no, I'm sorry, the same thing today. I did the same thing today, exactly the same way I did it yesterday when I got 1,000 and 1,600 between both, 2,600 total between both. Today's was 169 views and 104. And now I've got 6 people watching the fucking show. Two weeks ago, I uploaded a short randomly, got 22,000. 22,000. It wasn't even that interesting. Another one got 3,600. A more interesting one only got 600. So there's successes, and then there's massive failures. And then there's a success, then there's a failure, and a success, and then a failure. And apparently, if I do upload a video on the same day as I do a live show, one's going to suffer. Apparently, the show is suffering. They claim that they want us to create content and upload things and contribute. But apparently, if you're too active or you do too much, then you get punished because, I'm active in the community section too, where I post comments and things like that. But they're making it literally where I have to actually minimize. I have to minimize how much I contact with you guys and how much I communicate with you. And that makes no sense. Because if I don't, even if I communicate with you, no one's going to know it even happened. So, and it seems like now that they're prioritizing the shorts. So I've been relegated to 1-minute videos. Me, the guy who goes on 10-minute long rants without breathing. And I'm supposed to put everything, all my thoughts and everything into 59 seconds. You don't even get a full minute, by the way. If you get a full minute, it puts it over by a second, and then it kicks it to the regular videos, which nowadays, if you upload a regular video, it's sent to regular video hell. And I cannot understand this. I can't. It makes no sense. I see trashy channels that have 20 subscribers upload a dumbass video that makes no sense and it's got millions of views. I don't know. I don't get it. And all I'm asking for is consistency. Why one day a video gets 20,000 and the next day one gets 50 views? I mean, that doesn't make sense, guys. With 12,000, I have 12,000 subscribers. How the hell does this happen? How is it possible? I just don't know. But with everything that's going on at Twitter and everything that we know what happened at Twitter, I would like to know just how much of this, because I'm sure I've said something that probably upset some dickhead somewhere. Okay? It's probably Patriots related, most likely, because I don't really talk about politics or anything much, barely, if at all. But I've always wondered this, because when the channel first started in 2019, technically it will say that the channel started in December of 2018, but I really didn't do anything with it until 2019. I just opened it up. But in 2019, when I was new and it got started, and man, things were taking off. It was going great. Like it was getting views and getting attention. But then I noticed I was getting a lot of negative attention too. I was pissing off a lot of people, a lot of Brady haters and people who hate the Patriots. And then all of a sudden, it came to a screeching halt. It just stopped. Everything stopped. My first live show, 200 people were watching that thing. 200 people. That was my first live show. My 10th live show, 150. I mean, that was, so all this stuff was working for 2019, and then all of a sudden, wham, just a break. Everything stopped. The video views, the live show views, everything just stopped. Made no sense. I know this sounds crazy, but all it takes is for someone in San Francisco. Now, keep in mind, the San Francisco area is where YouTube would be at, where someone doing something like this would be at. San Francisco, 49ers. They could be a 49ers fan. They may not like what I said about Joe Montana. I'm the only YouTube channel probably on YouTube that has ever actually put Joe in a negative light and actually said some things. For the most part, people revere him as a god. Okay, even non-49ers fans. But if you imagine a 49ers fan who works at YouTube and sees my documentary and sees how harsh I am, click. You saw, if you read the Twitter files, you saw how they could pull up a Twitter account and it has notes and little buttons to shadow ban them, a literal shadow ban button. So you just click it, and it means that everything they tweet will no longer come up in people's feed, or it'll be down to like a minimum, like less than 1%. And it'll slow down everything and all this other stuff. So you explain it to me. You explain why we're stuck on 11.9 for a full year. I would like to know how that is possible. If I didn't do anything, if I didn't log in, if I just let it collect dust, I would have gained 100 subscribers within a year, more than 100 subscribers within a year, just by doing nothing.
Because of the videos that you have already done.
Yeah, because of the past videos. So those videos should be circulating. Have you ever noticed that my old videos never get circulated? It's very strange. Like I told you guys last week, I have different Chrome browsers for different various reasons. So like VonAllen History has a channel, so I have a different Chrome browser for that, and so on. Okay. So when I log into them and watch YouTube, I'll see recommended videos from VonAllen Sports. It'll be one or two, but it will never be I'll never get an older video that's recommended to me. But other channels I'm subscribed to, I'll get a video from 2013. Seriously. Okay. I got one the other day. I thought it was a new newscast. I saw the headline. I clicked on it. I'm like, what? What the hell is this? I looked at the date. It was 2009. So old videos get recirculated for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with something going on at the time. Whatever. All I'm saying is, I just wish there was consistency so I could follow that plan. I wish I could look and go, okay, this is the viewpoints. Here's what I need to do. I need to continue the uploads, or I need to pull back, or this or that. I just wish I had an idea of what to do. And then I can do that. I can follow that. But this guessing, this just working all these hours. By the way, a minute short, okay, is about 4 to 5 hours worth of work. Okay? Just let you guys know. So when you see that little 60-second clip in the morning before you're going to work or whenever you see it, and it's just 60 seconds, boom. It's just like a little, haha, cool. Yeah, that took hours. That took me a half of a work day to do that. Just to get everything right, to find the clips, to cut it up, to put make sure the music's balanced and everything. Time goes by really fast. Most of it is actually searching for videos to match the message I'm trying to convey. Like, for example, I uploaded one today with T.O.'s Hall of Fame speech. Well, I had to go. I remembered that T.O. had slammed the media, but I didn't know where in the speech it was. So I had to download his entire speech, which was like 20 minutes long. I had to cut it. I had to go find it. I had to find where he was talking about it, which takes a long time. And then I had to cut it up. And then once I found that section, I had to cut it up even more to fit within a minute time frame. That's just his speech alone, not to mention the graphics and moving things around and the subscribe buttons and the music and all that junk. So anyway, some take a little longer than others, but you get the point. But blindly, just doing this work, putting all these hours into these videos, and then not knowing if it's going to get 50 views or 5,000 is really shitty. I wish I just knew what to do. And I've been on here for years, and YouTube gives you nothing. It gives you nothing. They put these stupid videos up in your creator section that says how to get more views, and it tells you nothing. The video is just nonsense. It says, oh, you got to work hard. You got to cut videos. You got to do this. Well, no shit. What do you think I've been doing? That didn't tell me anything. I was hoping it would say, hey, this is how the algorithm works. This is what it looks for. This is the kind of thing you need. Okay, cool. And then all creators who work hard and do what they're supposed to do would rise, correct? But that's not the case. That's not the case. All right. When two guys who have tattoos all over their body and sings a song about being island boys and they get $1 million record deal, there's something wrong with the algorithm, because that's what did that. And it's just, it's strange. It really is. So anyway, that wasn't meant to be a rant or anything like that. I'm just trying to explain. I don't understand how these things are. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to I'm always working. Every day I'm working on this stuff, and it's so much. You have no idea. But it's got to mean something. Imagine every day that you go into work and you're working your ass off, and the other guy in the other office never does anything, but yet they judge both of y'all's work the same, and he gets credit or even more credit for everything you've done. That's how YouTube kind of works. It's really strange because you don't really know. So you could go in for a work week, do all this stuff, and then it amounts to zero. Or it amounts to success, and you just don't know. It's just, I would rather not have it be so many extremes. No extreme success or no extreme failure. Just somewhere in the middle, and I'm just pushing it out there, and it's growing and stuff. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to someone. I've tried to communicate with Google, but I don't think anyone at Google themselves is going to be connected with the YouTube team themselves, because every time I talk to someone at Google, they seem to be a little different and have different feedback and stuff. So it's very strange. So. And I honestly, I wouldn't be so this suspicious if it wasn't for what happened at Twitter recently. But the fact that I saw with my own eyes how they did those accounts that way. It just takes some dickhead sipping on his Starbucks mint tea coffee or whatever the hell it's called. And, well, fuck this guy. And now that little fuckhead who might not even work there anymore, who did it years ago, has control over my life and has control over how much you guys hear from me. You see all the people on Twitter whose views and whose their followers and everything, retweets just skyrocketed once they were not blacklisted anymore. That's interesting. I was never active on Twitter because I felt that it was pointless, So I am now because I know Elon's running it. So I at least know that whatever I say and what I communicate with, there's not going to be just some dickhead who is like, oh, I think I don't like this guy. I know that I can communicate with you guys. So because of all this, YouTube's forcing me to basically not be able to use the community section as much as I would like to. I used to use the community section where I text you something and communicate with you guys in that way. But apparently it counts against how many times they're going to notify you about something. So if let's say I type a sentence, a communication sentence, that's 1. I upload a short, that's 2. Upload another short, that's 3. That's 3. So are they going to, and then I go live that night. You know what I mean? So. Oh yeah, Dave. Yeah, a lot of the Twitter celebrities and stuff, they had a lot of robots and things. Well, they pay for them because when it comes to being a celebrity, your self-worth and not just self-worth, but your actual worth out in the world is based on numbers. And we do this every day as humans. Okay, so if someone comes to my channel and sees a number of subscribers, however big that number is how someone takes me seriously. And I'll give you an example. This is screwed up. The point I'm trying to make before I give you an example is that a celebrity needs to have millions of followers on Twitter or they're not as prestigious. And these days, when you're going and being casted here in Hollywood for a movie or whatever, they see if you've got a following. They want to know if people know who you are, because if they're going to put you in the movie, that is possible ticket sales and things like that. So exposure. So they judge you based on that. So all these actors, they go out and they purchase fake followers from these, Chinese companies and companies in India and places like that, where they boost up your, they're just a bunch of fake accounts. That's why if you go on Facebook and you look at someone's followers and all the names are in Indian, it's like, who the hell are these people? It's fake basically. So, but an example I was going to give you is how regular people judge this and why it works. It works. Okay. Is because when I first started VonAllen Sports, okay, so there's a number in people's minds about how someone would take you seriously or not, right? So I would talk about my channel and promote the channel when it was new in 2019. And I remember having like 1,000 views, 1,000 subscribers or whatever, and 2,000 subscribers. I thought that was a big deal. But when I would talk to people, or me and Milena would talk to people about the channel, and they what's the first thing they'd ask us, Milena? How many subscribers do you have? These are regular people, just regular everyday people. They're not YouTubers, they're not artists. They're just regular working people, normal everyday people. And they ask me that. How many subscribers do you have? Not what the channel's about, or what is it good, or do you have an example or whatever. How many do you have? How many subscribers? I tell them. And if that number is not big enough for their own good and for how they feel, they won't check it out. They won't look at it, and they won't come to it. And I've noticed like a passive resistance back then. After I crossed 10,000, I've noticed a difference with people. So now you tell people, you know, how many subscribers you got? Oh, I've got 10,000, 11,000. Oh, really? Wow, you're doing really good. Yeah, let me check it out. They'll pull out their fucking phone. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Pull out their fucking phone. Oh, yeah, hey, I just subscribed, man. But back then, no one did that. No one. Me and Milena used to laugh about this. Okay, it was just like, wow. I mean, so you could have the greatest channel on earth, but if you only have the subscription base, most people see you as scum. And it wasn't until we got over 10,000 is when you're not scum anymore, apparently. And the celebrities need the same thing. They need that. They need the Twitter followers. Okay. Have you noticed, guys? Have you noticed that there are how many people? Thousands, tens of thousands of people on Twitter that you've never heard of. Okay? You've never heard of them. Have no idea that they even existed on this planet. And then when you try to find out who they are, you still can't get a clear picture of who they are, what they've accomplished. And they've got 100,000, 200,000 followers on Twitter. It's like, and like each tweet has maybe 20 retweets at the most. It's fascinating. It really is. I bet you guys didn't know this show was going to be all about social media, did you? But I'm just saying, yeah, it's frightening how our culture today is judged in how popular you are. I'm having a Joe Biden moment. How popular you are in a fake world that, like, it's very strange. So it's like that Black Mirror episode when the girl is everything is a score system, and when you walk by somebody, it's like an Uber score system, and you walk by somebody and you give them a 4 or 5, and then if you get under like a 4 or something, you can't even go to work. You can't even get inside your workplace. I think that's where we're going. That's where we're ending up. So, Elf of Courage sends a $2 super chat. Says, I'm here for another vaccination booster. I love it. Awesome. Glad you guys. That's good. That's really good. Gord King's given us several good catchphrases, hasn't he? Elf of Courage sends a $5 super chat. He says, if you don't get vaccinated, you'll suffer from the Omicron variant, which can cause irritable bowel syndrome. Oh, that's perfect. The irritable bowel syndrome. That's good. I like that. Not very many of you guys left in the tournament tonight, huh? It's getting close. Elf of Courage sends a $2 super chat and says, VonAllen Sports, best indie sports show on YouTube. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I think that, Dave, I think that, or wait, Elf of Courage said that. Yeah, I think I should start doing mail-in subscribers. So, let's see if I can get some dead people to subscribe. Elon Musk wants to buy YouTube. There's no way Google would sell that. Now that what's happening with Twitter, the government is not going to give up another company. They're not going to let it happen. They wouldn't. No way. No way. That's their tool. ever since the Patriot Act, they're not going to lose their tools. Tell you what, Elon Musk has got balls of steel, though. All that money, and all you have to do is just go along to get along and not rock the boat, and you don't have to worry. And instead, now he's always going to be wondering if someone's going to hurt him or his family. And it's just, that guy's got balls of steel, man. Oh, Gord King needs 8 subs to get to 100. Guys, if you haven't already, go to Gord King and subscribe. I'm subscribed. Okay? I'm subscribed. If you're not subscribed, it sounds like a certain commercial from a few years ago. But anyway. Cool Hand Jared, he says, I remember when I found VonAllen Sports by merely searching Tom Brady videos. Yeah, because I was definitely not going to be recommended to you. I can tell you that much. Kevin Knightley Sinister says, VonAllen teach college classes on YouTube. Hey, Kevin, I wrote to you. I told you I need you to get a Signal account. I'm just going to call you out right now in front of everybody. Kevin, okay? Kevin, I need you to get an account on Signal and then enter my phone number and connect with me, because there is some things I have to ask you before I get to Phoenix tomorrow. So... what is the thing with Alchemist? You guys keep, the last few shows, y'all keep typing the word Alchemist, and I can't figure out what that's for. Nightwalker sends a $5 super chat. He says, why do you guys celebrate Christmas on the morning of the 25th? We do it on the evening of the 24th. Well, I think that's a family thing. Because when I was growing up, a lot of families did celebrate on the evening of Christmas Eve. So, but for the most part, I think, the tradition is Christmas morning. You wake up because, well, Santa Claus drops off the presents in the middle of the night, right? So, if you try to do that at night, you might run into him, and you might think he's a burglar, and then you might call the police, and Santa doesn't need to get arrested because he's got a lot of presents to distribute. Now, maybe the Santa in the Germany section, the German Santa, the Deutsch Santa, maybe he gets his presents done early, like Germans, very efficient. Okay. I was in Leipzig one time, and the trains arrived within 2 seconds of when they said they were going to. It was weird. All right. So maybe the German Santa Claus is just more efficient. He likes to get all of his work done before the end of the night, so he's not hurrying. The American Santa, however, is probably smoking a pack of cigarettes, probably drinking some Budweiser, not even Bud Light, because he's not going to watch his figure, of course. He's Santa. And he probably takes all night in order to deliver those presents. And that's probably the difference. I'm sure that's not the answer you were looking for, but nonetheless, that's a pretty good answer. Now, I tell you this, growing up, I think that, Christmas would have been a lot different had it been at nighttime. And I remember going to bed and then waking up, can't wait to wake up in the morning to get my presents. And that whole thing was awesome. We'd have a Christmas party for people from our church. And my mom would throw a Christmas party on Christmas Eve. And I remember that was so much fun. And then you go to bed and you wake up. So I couldn't imagine it any other way than that. So, but I don't really know why, Daniel. That's an interesting question. So I didn't know you guys did it differently. Milena, how did you guys do it in Bulgaria?
Yeah, so as you know, Christmas Eve is the vegan stuff, and then
Even during the commie days?
yeah. Well, we celebrate.
What did the communists call Christmas?
Actually, during commie days, they celebrated mostly New Year's
Ah, New Year's. Okay.
and Christmas Eve only. Those two, not Christmas Day.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So Milena basically told me nothing just now. So that's Æron VonAllen reporting on Christmas in Bulgaria. Thank you very much. So she just gave me like 3 different answers. So the commie and non-commie versions. Justin Chetlet. I'm sorry. Consul. Justin Chetlet. Well, that's right, guys. We have 3 consuls now. Before we only had 2. Before we had the red coat and James Johnson, who is snowed in right now in Vermont. James, we're all pulling for you. We're all thinking of you, buddy, and hope you're doing good. So I doubt he can even be on the show tonight because I don't think they have internet or even electricity at this moment. And the red coat, of course, is in England, and yeah. So Justin Chetlet sends a $10 super chat and says, because mourning is associated with rebirth and new life, and Christmas is a celebration of Jesus' birth. Yes, Justin. That is technically that makes perfect sense. I've often wondered how much of that reasoning is left in certain countries around the world, depending on their history. So we never knew Jesus's birthday for real. We knew he was born in the spring, or the crossing of spring to summer area. The reason we celebrate it on December 25th and the Christmas time and the winter and all that is because it was a Roman holiday, and the Romans celebrated the winter solstice, and it was already established day there, and everyone was used to it, and they thought, let's just do Christmas on that day, and it'll slide right into the calendar perfectly. So Justin is exactly correct. It's not even about when, what the exact day is. It's just we designated the 25th, and the morning is the birth of a day, and that's very well said. I think it's called Jesus Christ. Not Jupiter. It's named after a Roman god. I'm talking about the original one. Help me out, guys. I'm stuck. I'm having another Joe Biden moment. Saturnalia. Thank you. Saturn. Yes. Saturnalia. That's it. Thank you. But wow, yeah, Justin, that's perfect. That's perfectly said. I couldn't have put it together better myself. So, and Jesus does love football. Okay. Hey, I'll tell you this, guys. This is true. Texas Stadium. You guys remember Texas Stadium before they destroyed it, and because it was in Irvine. Then they built a new stadium in Arlington. But the old Texas Stadium, which I've been to, okay, I saw the Cowboys play the Seahawks in 1998. But Cowboys Stadium, Texas Stadium, had a hole in the roof. And, a lot of people think that it was a dome and a retractable roof. It was not. It just had there was kind of a roof, but then it was like there's a hole in the middle. And they put that in there because they said that so God will be able to see his favorite football team play. That's a true story. That's pretty interesting. I was there when they destroyed it as well. It's 2010, I think they knocked it down. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2010. Yeah, but I remember driving by there and watching them do the pre-work before you can bring it down completely, and it was so weird. It was kind of depressing, actually. So. Now, as you guys may know, and again, Justin, that's a great super chat right there. That wording is how I'm going to explain Christmas to a lot of people from now on. So that is well done. Minuteman, it did snow in that stadium. The most famous occurrence, I don't know if it did it more than once, but I do know, I'm sure it did, because when I lived in Dallas, it snowed quite a bit. But the most famous snow game in Dallas in that stadium was against the Miami Dolphins, and that was the famous Thanksgiving game. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the year. I know I was a kid. It might have been 92 or 93. Okay, somewhere there. It was early 90s. I know that. How about that? Okay. But it was Thanksgiving Day where the Dallas Cowboys were playing the Dolphins, and Leon Lett comes sliding through and touches the ball, and in Leon Lett fashion, of course, Leon Lett was always the GOAT of all the games. And back in those days, the GOAT meant lowercase goat, okay? As in you were the idiot of the game. The term GOAT now, greatest of all time, that's a relatively new thing, 21st century term, but that didn't exist back then. So when you said someone was the GOAT of the game, it meant that they were the total absolute moron. And Leon Lett was known for this stuff. Like when he was against the Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl, when all he had to do was tuck the ball in and score that touchdown, and they would set the record for like the largest margin of a Super Bowl. And he's holding the ball to the side like this, showboating before he gets to the end zone. And then Don Beebe from the Bills comes running up and then knocks it out of his hand and causes a fumble. So Leon Lett was known for this kind of stuff. It's just, you know what? If he did that and that was Super Bowl, that was the 92 season. It must have been the next year, because I remember, or no, it could have been 94. Could have been 94, because I remember thinking that he, what an idiot. And the only reason I would think that he's an idiot is because of the famous one in the Super Bowl. So it had to have been after. So it could be 93, 94, could even be 95. I'm not sure. What you doing, Milena? Looking for Amelia. Okay. But yeah, anyway, it snowed in that game, that Thanksgiving game against the Dolphins. And yeah, it is sad, Ryan, how we give up on old stadiums and stuff. I would think, I tell you what, I always, Milena can account for this. I've told her a lot of times, I said, you know what, Milena, if we ever win the lottery or something, or, have millions and millions of dollars just to buy random stuff, I'm going to buy up these old football stadiums in each city before they knock them down. I'm just going to buy them, and then I'm going to turn them into cat sanctuaries, like a giant cat jungle. Okay? So imagine Texas Stadium full of, I'll bring in like trees and all kinds of stuff, and just imagine that entire stadium being like a habitat for all the homeless cats of Dallas, right? Perfect. All of the ground will be now dirt. It will be, there won't be regular flooring. I mean, it'll just be a complete habitat for them. And I could do this in each city, right? Because I guarantee by the time that thing's knocked over, you could probably buy it for a few million. So. No, I lived in Dallas for a while, worked in Dallas. I remember it was cold quite a bit. And I remember trying to drive to work and getting caught on bridges and sliding and not being able to drive fast enough. And I remember the tollway was dangerous. Yeah, people think the South and they think hot all the time. It's not the case at all. Arkansas is the same way. Arkansas is all 4 seasons, and it can get cold there too. So. Huh? Yeah, I played hockey. I loved hockey. Yeah. Dave says 1993. Okay, 93. So I was close. I wasn't sure. Dave said it was 93 and my 5 college buddies eating with my parents watching the game. It's 93 for sure. Perfect. Yeah, some of the years when I'm younger like that, they kind of flow together unless I can remember I can remember the Super Bowls, but a regular season game like that, it's hard to pinpoint. But I knew it had to be after the 92 Super Bowl, because I do remember thinking Leon Lett does it again. And I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't think that unless I had knowledge of that Super Bowl mistake that he made. So Dave says, I have so much in common with Æron, but I'm a dog person. Hey, Dave, I love dogs. See, that's a misconception about a lot of people. I have cats. I love cats. I've had cats my whole life. When I was born, there was a cat around. Okay, so that's been my whole life. But I love animals in general. So I'm going to get a dog. I'm going to get several dogs when we get a house and have a big yard and stuff. So I love animals in general. So, but cats are probably my favorite. Alpha Curry says if he was to do that, the stadiums would be the world's largest hamster habitats. Oh man, I had 2 hamsters years ago. I loved them. They were so fun. My cats would play with them, not hurt them. I got several videos and pictures of them playing together. This is the longest I've ever gone without actually talking about football. Okay. How long have I lived in Los Angeles? Almost 13 years. I moved, Yeah, well, I moved here in end of 2009 or 20. No, I moved here in 2010 to record my 4th album, and I never left because of Milena. She held me hostage, I was trying to move to Afghanistan, and I told her, I said, Milena, I know we just met and all this, but you can't tell me where I can move to and where I can't. If you want to be with me, if you care about me, you'll go with me to Afghanistan. And I had a whole life planned out, and, I had a place to move into. I was going to move in with 5 other dudes. They were in some kind of independent business, something brotherhood, and I really don't know. They seemed like stand-up guys, and I was gonna move in with I was gonna move in with them, and Milena stopped me. So Oh, that's cool, Dave. Yeah, we think a lot alike, huh? I think a lot of us think a lot alike. I think that's why we're together here. Community bathroom.
Man. Let's not even go there.
Well, if I didn't move to Afghanistan, I had a backup plan. So I was gonna move to Bogota, Colombia, and I had a good job hookup there too. They were manufacturing flour, I'm pretty sure. So it was a cooking flour manufacturing company, and I was going to be the head of marketing.
Okay.
So why do you keep laughing?
Move on to football.
All right. Whatever, man. Okay. So I was watching a show called Speak, and it's actually the only show I really enjoy or I really like, and it's on Fox Sports, and it's the show has Joy Taylor, but it has Joy Taylor and LaShawn McCoy, and they're the reason I watch. It does have an annoying dipshit named Emmanuel Acho, who really, really loves the sound of his own voice. Okay, and it's really annoying, but for the most part, the show is pretty good. Okay, and like I said, Joy Taylor and LaShawn make a lot of good points. But Joy said something regarding talking about the Belichick, thing and Patriots legacy and all that, and how that was going to go. And she made the comment about the AFC East, and if the AFC East is, the reason why they may have sucked. Well, I rarely disagree with Joy, because normally she's always spot on, and she actually. You would think that she was a VAS subscriber or something, because of the way she seems to talk a lot and the way she thinks. However, she's bought into the whole AFC East was weak thing, and that had something to do with why they were a dynasty. Well, first of all, she should have been careful about what she said, because she just insulted her own brother, who is Jason Taylor, who was on the Dolphins during that time. So you just called the AFC East weak, referring to the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets, while your brother played for the Dolphins. It's not very smart to do that. Kind of a self-own, I guess. But like we went over the other day, I showed you guys how the AFC West has been very weak since Patrick Mahomes first started in 2018. How Peyton Manning's time in the AFC South was extremely weak as well. But this is always attributed to the Patriots for some reason. So now that Joy has said that, and I've seen other people say this too. It's not, but I was just surprised it came from her. But now I've decided that I'm going to have to make a new Brady hate episode. What do you guys think? I'm going to have to make a new Brady hate episode. Now I know I did one already for the AFC East, but I never did the comparison for other quarterbacks. So I think I need to make one and show how weak a lot of the other divisions have been. I need to show how Patrick has benefited. I need to show how Peyton Manning has benefited, how Aaron Rodgers has benefited from the NFC North. I mean, the dude got to play the Lions every year, okay? And then either the Bears or the Vikings would end up sucking, depending on who it was, depending on which one. And nobody says anything about that. Or how long was the NFC East terrible? Okay, how long were they terrible? And I don't get it. It's really pathetic that all they do is talk about that. Or how about Ben Roethlisberger's Steelers, who got to beat up on the Bengals and the Browns every single year? Sorry, Addy, but we know that to be true as well. Okay, so let's not pretend that Tom and the Patriots are the only ones benefiting from garbage teams in their division. Every single division has at least one garbage team, usually two, depending on the consistency of it. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this. And I thought I was done arguing to defend Brady, but I thought I'd said everything that needed to be said. And I thought I made a video for every accusation and every rebuttal I could imagine. But people have created new ones or extended old ones that need to be respoken and reshaped and shown differently. And that's what we're going to have to do now. We're also apparently you guys, I'm looking here, you guys approve of that one. And how about another one? Okay.
Wait for the super chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Wow. Dave Wilhauer sent a $20 super chat, and he says, let's go. Peyton and his weak division. That's right. We're going to do that, buddy. We're going to do it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, in fact, I'll get started on that as soon as the show's over. Another idea for a Brady episode, because, again, people are creating new and inventive ways to try to bring down his legacy. The idea that he went to a stacked Bucs team, that's got to be a video, right? It's got to be. So, I mean, I am so sick of hearing that. It's unbelievable. So, I kid you not. A guy the other day on a comment of a video I made, someone else's video, and he replied, oh no, it was something Joy Taylor had said. And he replied, well, if you give Bill Belichick the same weapons that Tom Brady had in Tampa Bay, he'd be undefeated. Yes. Yes, he said that. This guy said that. He somehow forgot that Belichick is in charge of getting weapons and getting players. Now, he got caught up in the whole, I'm going to regurgitate and just parrot everything I hear from other people who say these things on these shows and on Twitter or whatever, right? And he tried to use the whole quarterback argument with the X amount of weapons. He tried to apply that to a head coach, general manager. That doesn't work. You can't do that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Talk about just complete moron. All right. So he hates Tom Brady so badly that he was willing to make himself look moronic in order to do that. So what are we supposed to do exactly? Kidnap Bill Belichick, throw him in a closet, then get all those weapons for him, and then pull him out of the closet and say, now you got to coach them? Is that how this works? Just curious. He made it sound like that Bill Belichick is like a quarterback who is at the mercy of the general manager. And this is how bad things have gotten. Okay, this is how. So people now are applying this to head coaches and general managers. Eventually, they might apply it to an owner. Well, if you give Mr. Kraft those weapons, he'd have 10 more Super Bowls. Is that where we're going here? Is that the direction? So I think a Brady hate episode is needed. Bucs edition. Okay, him going to the Bucs, what they were before he got there, what they were. And what they are now that they're coaching is completely moronic. And and maybe a look into a prediction of what they're going to be after Tom. So. The Gord King says a $2 super chat. He says you should also do a Newton hat saga for Cam. So yeah, I need to do a highlight reel of all of the great Cam Newton hats and clothing, and also some of the ones that I wore. So I do miss dressing up like Cam. I'll tell you that. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys thought that I was just dressing normal. Thank you for that, by the way. Appreciate it. Alpha Courage sends a $2 super chat. He says, let's go, Favre, Rodgers, and their weak-ass NFC North. Yep. Why does it only say 5 likes? Actually, it says 14, doesn't it?
Yeah, 15 now.
Oh, probably because you said that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, David says, yes, the stacked Bucs team is what he fell into. Yeah. And even these, even those crappy teams like the Dolphins and Jets, they would have years where they were competitive and they'd go to the playoffs and stuff like that. Alvin Courage sends a $5 super chat. He's on fire tonight. He says, let's go. Steelers, Ravens for their weak other half of the AFC North. Hey, dude, I'm saying you can do this for everybody. We can do this all day long, So why did Tom leave? Because people try to say, oh, he got out of the AFC East right when it was being competitive. Really? I seem to remember him winning the AFC East again in 2019 when he left. I remember him beating Josh Allen's Bills before he left. In fact, his last victory as a New England Patriot, I saw in person. That was Josh Allen. That was the Buffalo Bills. If Tom stays, there's no reason to think that wasn't gonna end. Okay, so but that's what happens when the Patriots are not there. Other teams are now going to have an opening. That's just how it works, So you're telling me for 20 years, these teams couldn't do anything. For 20 years, but all of a sudden now that Tom leaves, now they're better. That's just... So how long did you want Tom to stay in the AFC East to prove that they're going to dominate them no matter what? 30 years? 40 years? So 20 years isn't enough. 20 years is not enough to show that clearly the Patriots' dominance is having an effect mentally on those other teams and how they do things and how they hire. The coaches they hire, they used to make so many mistakes all the time. The first thing they would do is they would try to build great defenses and ignore the quarterback position. That's what they would do. They were so obsessed, we got to stop Tom Brady. We got to stop Tom Brady. Okay? So the Jets, the Bills, even the Dolphins, they would focus on defensive players and they think we got to beat Tom Brady. And they didn't think, oh, you know what? How you win in this league? You have to have a quarterback. And it just never occurred to them. They weren't trying to get a quarterback in order to stop Bill Belichick. They were trying to get a defense to stop Tom Brady. That's the difference there, okay? And they stopped doing that. And now that Tom's gone, they don't think in those terms. So their entire thinking has shifted. Now, one reason for the Bills, to explain the Bills, could be ownership change, okay? So that could have an effect on why the Bills are making that turn. The ownership may have a different philosophy and want to go in a different direction, say, hey, we need this, we need that, and it could take them in a different direction. The Jets, in my opinion, are still the Jets. I don't see much difference. They still can't get quarterbacks. They still can't do any of that. They still put together a decent defense. But the Jets haven't really changed much as far as I'm concerned. The Jets were always kind of either okay or pretty good or trash. Like they would go in those three areas consistently every 3 years. And the Dolphins were always average. So this whole, the AFC East got good all of a sudden, and that's why Tom was leaving. Really? So explain to me what was happening in 2019 that made Tom so afraid to get out of the AFC East. What was it, Josh Allen? You mean the Josh Allen that Tom was dominating by the time he left? That Josh Allen? Or was it the Jets and Dolphins amazing quarterbacks? Was it Ryan Fitzpatrick? Was it Ryan Fitzpatrick that Tom Brady was running from? Is that what was happening? I can't even tell you who the Jets quarterback was. Just Joe Flacco. In 2019, who was it? 2019. Remember, they drafted a kid named Christian Hackenberg, but that might have been like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah. Tom was afraid of all that. He was afraid of that. So Tom was so afraid of those rising quarterbacks from the Jets and the Dolphins that he moved to the NFC South to go deal with Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. Yeah. So he traded those amazing Jets and Dolphins quarterbacks because he was afraid of them.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, guys. People say this. Actually, I'm sure y'all have seen it. So. Ryan Dyer, by the way, is a Packers fan. He says, I think it is helpful to be a team in a hard division. It helps you prepare for the playoffs, but you have to make it to the playoffs. Exactly. It's just, you can only beat who's in front of you anyway. If you're a good team, you're gonna perform well in the playoffs anyway. If you're a good team, okay. If you're a bad team and the only reason why you're winning is because of your bad division, if that was the case, then you would suck in the playoffs and you would consistently lose. Now, for the record, I'm going to make that video, but I'm going to make it very clear that this is just to point out that the argument is flawed and stupid. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to put these on. That the argument is flawed and stupid. And that it should not be attributed to any reason, any winning that is done by these elite quarterbacks. How these elite quarterbacks should be judged is how they perform in the playoffs. Have they won a Super Bowl? Have they consistently gotten far in the playoffs? And when you look at Peyton and look at Mahomes and Brady and Aaron and Drew and all these guys, they've all got Super Bowls. So apparently the division wasn't the only thing that was helping them or whatever. So you could do this all day. It's just really stupid. But for some reason, they only label Tom Brady with this and not the other guys. And it's just, so I'm just going to have to say, hey, look, this is a normal thing. Okay. This is just a normal thing. It's just how it is. If I wanted to, shit on a quarterback because of stuff like this, then I would say, well, Peyton Manning got moved out of the AFC East, okay, where he'd have to play the Bills, Patriots, and Jets in cold weather. And that's twice, okay? I'm sorry. You'd have to play them twice, but 3 of those games would have to be in their cold weather. And we all remember back in the early 2000s where Peyton would struggle with that, right? So that he got to move to a division with the Jacksonville Jaguars playing out in Jacksonville, Houston Texans, who plays in a dome, and the Tennessee Titans, who, for the most part, has pretty decent weather up until the really end of the year. All right? Well, I could mention that. I could use that as a weapon against Peyton, but I wouldn't. I would only use it as an example of, hey, This is idiotic. Okay? Tom owns every single passing record that you can imagine. And he did it playing outside in New England in terrible weather a lot of times. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, okay? Those guys achieved all those stats in relatively bad weather, okay? For Favre and Rodgers, it was Chicago. Minnesota had a dome. Detroit had a dome. But their home games alone in Green Bay were bad enough. That's why I put out that image that, years ago, I doubt you guys probably remember, but it was called Forged in Ice. And I put Brady and Rodgers, Favre, Roethlisberger, a few others. But who were the other record holders before Tom? Peyton broke it first, then Drew Brees. Both of those guys spent a majority of their careers inside domes and with other teams that either played in divisions with teams that played either in good weather or in domes as well. So you could use this, but you never heard anyone say anything about Peyton playing in a dome in Indianapolis. They never used this against him. Drew Brees playing in New Orleans. Before he was in New Orleans, he was in San Diego, which is the same thing. Might as well be in a dome in San Diego, okay? And when he moved to NFC South, here's his opponents. He himself played in a dome. Then he plays the Carolina Panthers, which is, it's like the Tennessee Titans. It just depends on what time of year it is. Then he's got the Atlanta Falcons who play in a dome, and then Tampa Bay Buccaneers who play in Tampa, Florida. Okay? So yeah, Colehan Jared. Well, when they were hiring coaches, the coaches had this same philosophy too. So that's kind of who they would hire and how they would look into it. It's just their obsession with Tom Brady. Ask Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan will tell you on TV every day, if it's brought up, if they ask him about Brady and they say, I was afraid of Tom Brady, I was never afraid of Belichick. And he would say that over and over again. He said the players have the same the same opinion. Watch Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis does an entire hour interview and asks point blank about it. Who is mostly the dynasty? What was it about? They say, and Darrelle Revis said, "Oh, it's Brady, man." This is Darrelle Revis, who played cornerback and had to defend against Tom Brady. And these teams' obsessions with Tom, trying to stop Tom, is why they would falter. And when in reality, they needed to focus on getting a quarterback and then going from there. But guys, the NFL has changed, okay? Tom Brady knew that the NFL has changed. That's why he left in 2019. That's why he got out of there. He left because Bill wasn't willing to change. Tom realized the NFL is about quarterback throwing the ball down the field. It's about getting to those elite athletes that can get down the field really fast. He said this is where it was going, and he saw it. Bill is not willing to change, and it's showing right now. And that's the problem. Bill thought he could get away with this just by having an average quarterback, and reality has set in. That's the game now. And those other teams didn't realize it and weren't going, hey, we need a quarterback. We should think about offense and then try to make the defense happen. So they were so obsessed with stopping Brady that they didn't realize, you know what? It's okay to lose to Tom Brady twice a year as long as we're winning our other games. And that's the mentality they should have had. if I was running the Jets, for example, I would think, okay, you know what? I don't even give a shit if we don't beat the Patriots. I don't care. Okay. It's the greatest quarterback of all time over there. If we may lose to them, sometimes we might split them 1-1. That's great. We may lose twice, but everybody else, we're going to kill them because we have a great quarterback. We have the right weapons and we can do just enough to stop them. And that's the change that those guys should have made. And they refused to do it. All of them until recently. And now they've woken up. The Bills are the ones that woke up the quickest. Now, the Bills were able to put together good defense, but they understood that they are not getting anywhere without an offense. They go out and get Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen because they knew they needed to push the ball downfield. And to their credit, they started that before. The only problem is, and in their defense, Tom Brady was still the quarterback of the Patriots, so it wasn't working yet. It was still kind of in its infancy and still working itself out. My dad is here. Jason, what's up? Are you guys together?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Jason, you did shoot Buddy in the desert. Everybody's got that story. Oh, we sent the dog to the happy place of a farm, and when I let her go off the leash, she went running and all happy and smiling to her new owners. And yeah, we've all heard that before, right? We've all heard that. No, I know. Why are you bringing that up? That's weird. Are you going to be picking my ass up at the airport? Yeah, Ryan, that's the one thing that helps Peyton out a bit is that once he moved to Denver, he was still able to get some things done. And that's to his credit because Denver is a terrible place to play. Alpha Courage, there's a $5 super chat. He says, Peyton and Breeze played in a dome 9 times this season. Brady, on average, played in a dome once every 2 years. Yep. That's crazy. Who do I think will suck more in 5 years? The Bucs or the Patriots? Oh, the Bucs. Easily. As soon as Tom Brady's out of there, the Bucs are going to be back to business as usual, which is sucking. They sucked before Tom got there. They were 7-9. I love this argument. Okay, this is one of my favorites. It's another self-own argument. The only reason the Bucs were 7-9 before Brady got there is because of Jameis Winston. Duh. Yeah, and is that supposed to be some kind of point? Are you telling me that the only reason why they went from 7-9 to Super Bowl champion is because they traded Jameis Winston as a quarterback and they traded out and brought in Tom Brady? Is that what you're trying to say? And that's supposed to be an insult at Tom. Wait for it. Huh. So, yeah, I'm going to have to do some amazing mental gymnastics to figure out where they're going with that one. Again, the Brady derangement syndrome, okay? Brady derangement syndrome, okay? It is a real thing. It is so bad that it makes you to where even the most logical person cannot think straight. They can't, they own themselves by making the comments. They're so dedicated to insulting Brady that they don't even realize that they're making themselves look like fools. It's it's really something, actually. Here's what they wanted, okay? Here's what everybody wanted, all the Brady haters. Tom had to go to the Detroit Lions in order to prove anything. That's what they're saying. Because now that's what people say. I've seen that. They say, oh, well, I bet if he went to the Lions, he couldn't do that. Okay, interesting. So Tom isn't allowed to talk to a team that may have some things that he's looking for. So what was Tom looking for exactly? He was looking for a defense that could actually do its job, similar to the Patriots defense that he already had. But he wanted people to throw to. He wanted to throw the ball down the field. He wanted to show people that he could still throw it because everyone was making fun of his arm strength. And I was saying this, you guys were saying this, that the 2019 Patriots offense was allowing for Tom to throw the ball down the field. It wasn't that he couldn't. It's that there was no weapons out there to stretch the field. No perimeter players at all that could get anywhere. So Tom wanted to throw the ball. So he needed to go to a team that fit those things he was looking for. If he was picking based off of a great team already, well, there was other teams that could have been that way. But the Bucs were 7-9. What do you want? What more do you want? A 5-11 team? I mean, where does it end here? I mean, the Jets? Like, what if he had picked the 49ers? What if he ended up on the 49ers? People would be losing their minds right now. That would have meant he went to a team that just was in the Super Bowl in 2019 against the Chiefs, and then he gets on them immediately in 2020. But he didn't do that. He didn't go there. That's not what happened. What about the Titans? He ended up on a team that beat them and put them out of the playoffs in 2019. Well, that didn't happen either. He went to the Buccaneers, the Succaneers, all right? The worst team, the losingest team in all 4 major American sports. Think about that. The Losinaires. Yeah, the Losinaires. And that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. In a league that had Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, Arizona Cardinals. We're talking historically garbage teams. And the Bucs were worse. The only thing that you could say for them is they had that one Super Bowl in 2002.
Not the same team.
And ever since then has been complete and utter crap. And that wasn't good enough for them. It's always going to be something. If he had gone to the Lions, they'd say, well, he should have went to the Browns. I mean, if he had gone to the Browns, he should be on the 1-win Texans now. Like, it will never end, no matter what he does. I'm sorry, but going to the Bucs at 7-9 is point made. Done. It's over. So. Cool Hand Jared sends a $2 super chat. He says, do you think that mentality is now for Mahomes? So sorry. Which part? Because we've spoken several things. Are you referring to would people think less of Mahomes? That's why he's winning the division because of the division record, or do I think that? Sorry, I just want to make sure. Gord King, that's a good point about Russell Wilson. That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, Gordon King. Why is Brady the only one asked to make such a move? It's because of hatred. They hate him. Peyton Manning carefully chose the team he went to, okay? Carefully chose. There was teams that he went and interviewed with, but he had no realistic desire to go to them. And, he picked Denver specifically for what they had. And nobody says anything. It's okay for him to do that because it's Peyton. Okay. Go ahead, Jared. I don't think you clarified that for me. Dave Wilhauer sends a $2 super chat. He says, Tom forced Breeze into retirement. Yeah, well, it's kind of like now that the Bucs are on the rise. The at that time that the Saints were no longer the dominant one, and it's just time had come that they had to make the change. And then ultimately the Falcons dumped their quarterback. So it's amazing how that works, isn't it? What timing? See, according to those idiots, Tom knew the future. And so he went to the NFC South knowing that Drew Brees was going to retire and couldn't play anymore. And he knew that Matt Ryan was going to be traded from the Falcons. So Tom, he knew. He had a crystal ball. It's just... Yeah, Gord King. Well, it depends on which Cleveland team we're talking about. I was just naming historically bad teams, in general. But if we actually want to look at the teams from 2019, had he been the quarterback of them, there's a lot of teams that he would have taken to the Super Bowl that year. Coming off of 2019, I mean. Let's even talk about good teams. Let's talk about the Packers. Let's flip it. So, we talked about the 49ers. Well, the 49ers would have won that Super Bowl against the Chiefs if Brady was on that team. He would have made those throws in the fourth quarter when he needed to. He wouldn't have made the mistakes that Jimmy made throughout the game. Most likely anyway. So... Yeah, exactly, Justin. If he had gone to the Texans and would have won a Super Bowl, they said, well, why didn't he go to a team like the Bucs? No matter what. Oh, yeah, Dave. Yeah, Mahomes is drafted and his weapons all around him. Everywhere. You have one of the greatest coaches of all time already, and the difference between having Mahomes having Andy Reid and Mac Jones having Belichick is that Andy Reid is a quarterback guru. He is a quarterback developer. That's what Andy Reid does. Yeah, his defenses suffer for it. That's just the way it is. But the quarterback is going to have a chance to flourish there. Tom was playing for a team, and now Mac is playing for a coach that is all defensive minded. Belichick is so damn defensive minded that he put a defensive coordinator as the offensive coordinator. Okay? So, and you're telling me that, oh, Tom Brady is the result of Bill Belichick's genius? Yeah, right. Okay, so Jared says, like with teams within their division fearing Brady, like how teams are now for Mahomes. No, it's not. It's not the same. What's happened is the AFC West realized that they needed the quarterback. They needed to match offense for offense. The problem that the AFC East teams were having is that they didn't understand that the game was changing, and they still thought we just focus on defense. You got to do both, but you can't really do anything if you don't have that premier quarterback. And the Chargers drafted Herbert, and they hit it. They got it. They got lucky there. I'm shocked that people passed on him. I don't understand that, but whatever. We can always go back and have revisionist history or whatever. But Justin Herbert was the quarterback I had rated highest in that draft. But the Raiders thought that they had their guy with Derek Carr, and the Denver Broncos went out and they gave up everything for Russell Wilson, so they were trying to make that happen. And if you design your team around one guy in the division that you only play twice a year anyway, you're not going to get very far. So, but then you also have to take into account the coaching. So the Denver Broncos gave up all that for Russell Wilson, but they got a coach that won't reflect any of that and doesn't understand how to make that work. So you needed to get a coach that matches Russell Wilson and his style and the way the Seattle philosophy and how they were doing in Seattle. You needed to bring that type of coach there. Someone who is within that framework. The Chargers have an idiot for a head coach, a complete moron, and they're going to have to trade him out soon. So they've got the quarterbacks. So they've got the quarterbacks in place. Guys, make no mistake, Russell Wilson is not going to be this bad forever. Okay? It's ridiculous. You don't have a 10-year career in Seattle where you're a really great quarterback and all of a sudden you just forget how to play football. That doesn't happen. Okay? It just doesn't happen. That's retarded. All right? No, that's not what happened here. They just need better coaching. The Chargers are the same way. Justin Herbert can get out of that bad coaching. They can bring in somebody else that knows what they're doing. Now the Chargers and the Denver Broncos can be a team that is pressing against the Chiefs and being a good contender. The problem for teams like the Jets back in the AFC East days, what we were talking about earlier, the problem for the Jets was that they had the right coach, just they never got him the quarterback. So Rex Ryan is a very capable coach. He just needed an elite quarterback. It's not that easy to get, but you try to find it somehow. So it was the opposite. You need both. You need the coach. You need the quarterback. Coach, quarterback, coach, quarterback. Those go right together. So, but the Chiefs, regarding the Chiefs, they're just a good team. It doesn't matter what division they're in. They're gonna win games, and they're gonna win. It's just like the Patriots. We're gonna win, and that's how it is. A good team doesn't matter what division they're in. Now, if the Chiefs all these years were just destroying the Broncos and Chargers and Raiders, and then every time they get to the playoffs and they lose when they finally get up against a real good team, then that might be a good argument. But that's not what's happening. They're constantly in the AFC Championship game every year or the Super Bowl. So, and they always have a good record. You can only get 6 wins maximum from your division. And rarely do people go 6-0 in their division. There's a whole rest of the schedule that you've got to be good at and you got to dominate. Todd Bowles is the worst coach I've ever seen. Honestly. That's not hyperbole. It's serious. Okay? And here's why. Yes, there have been coaches that have had teams that were like one win or whatever, like Hugh Jackson of the Cleveland Browns and stuff like that. But yes, that sucked. Yes, he's a terrible coach, but his team sucked too. Like his roster was kind of bad also. Not as bad as him, but pretty bad. So you always have to look at that. You always have to look at the coaches with the losing records, but what kind of players did they have too, and balance that out, and then you kind of figure out their job performance. When we look at Todd Bowles, he has a Super Bowl team. Okay? If you read the roster of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you would think you were reading the NFC Pro Bowl roster with the names that are on that thing. And this isn't just that. It's a team that won a Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago, was in the divisional last year, which I argue they should have won that game and probably would have went on to the Super Bowl. If some calls were made. But anyway, the point is that they were really good last year too. And now all of a sudden they don't know how to even beat teams like the Steelers or the Panthers or the Browns. Like they just don't know what they're doing anymore. They don't know how to play. You've taken them that far down. You've ruined the greatest quarterback that's ever played in a few months. In a matter of a few months. Last year, he was MVP. Okay? I'm sorry, but Tom should have got MVP last year. The point is, whether you think Tom should have been MVP or not, Tom Brady had an MVP year. And within a few months, so February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, Tom Brady forgot how to play football. He went from here to here in a few months. And the only thing that changed in a major way was Todd Bowles became the head coach. And all of a sudden, Tom Brady can't throw the ball anymore. He can't read defenses anymore. Leonard Fournette can't run the ball anymore. The offensive line can't block anymore. Mike Evans can't catch anymore.
And Giselle Bundchen stopped doing voodoo for him.
So that's got to make you one of the worst coaches of all time, if not the worst. And the only reason we can't say the worst, I guess, technically I shouldn't say that yet, because the season's not over. And we don't know what's going to happen. But we think we know what's going to happen. But it's not over yet. But he is on that trajectory right now. And the very moment Tom Brady is gone from that team next year, they will be one of the worst in football. They will be picking they will have a top pick in the 2024 draft. Dave Wilhauer sends a $2 super chat. Says, if Todd Bowles doesn't zero blitz Stafford, they're back in the Super Bowl. Yes, yeah, that was his brilliant call. A lot of people tried to say that was Bruce Arians, and that was not. Todd Bowles made that call, and he called for zero blitz and left them wide open in the back, and Cooper Kupp got free. I'd like to know what made you think to do that. That was a bonehead decision. So, yes, Dad, Hayden Fox is actually the greatest coach of all time. He's better than Lombardi. He's better than Belichick. He's better than Walsh. Hayden Fox, the GOAT. You know, Dad, I don't think I remember the end of that series of coach. Did he ever get to coach the Minnesota Vikings? Didn't he want to be the Vikings coach for a while, or wasn't that in the storyline sometimes? I can't remember. Remind me. Coolhan Jared, yes, the Bengals should have won that Super Bowl this year. Or at least the Rams shouldn't have gotten into the end zone so easily. At some point, you've got to say, why don't we just put 7 up on the board instead of running the clock down so the Bengals can go back the other way? You know, that was the point it was getting at. It was like no matter what the Bengals did, the Rams kept getting a reprieve over and over and over and over. And I was just like, just put 7 up there, and then let's just get this over with. And that's what I've been telling people about the whole this whole thing where you cannot shield yourself from certain people, certain refs, or certain, having a bias and doing things a certain way. You can't do nothing about that. You can't stop it. And there are a lot of times in NFL history that I can point out to that I think something shady happened. So you can't. There's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. Ryan Dyer sends a $2 super chat. He says, "If I used to have BDS, but I changed in the second Super Bowl versus the Eagles." So, oh wow! So you watched him in 2017 and saw that he was out there on his own, and watched him throw for 505 yards and break the playoff record. That's cool, man. See, I love it when people can say and are willing to change, and they hated him for so long, and then they just like, you know what? I don't hate him anymore. And I had that. Actually, I had really stopped liking Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like Aaron Rodgers for a long time because of the media and all that stuff. Now he doesn't bother me as much, and simply because he seems to be a different person. He's changed. He's changed quite a bit. So now he doesn't annoy me anymore. Like, it doesn't annoy me like it used to. But at the same time, people aren't hyping Aaron anymore like they used to, and we all know why. So, but I'll tell you something. We talked about this before, but I just want to say it again. The derangement syndrome, somewhat, for quarterbacks that are not first rounders is really, really something to behold. The Cowboys have a great record right now. They're a good team, okay? If Mahomes was the quarterback of Dallas with the same record and same stats as Dak has, they would be talking about how the Dallas Cowboys are the greatest team in football. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Dak Prescott never gets an inch, okay? He has a few cheerleaders from analysts who are Dallas Cowboy fans, right? But for the most part, he does not get the respect that first rounders get, like Jalen Hurts is getting right now. It's very strange, but there is something to that. There's that stigma that you weren't a first-round quarterback. You don't fit what they call the pedigree. And they can't fathom why you're doing well, and then they're not going to hype. They're certainly not going to hype you because you defy what their supposed expertise says was what you're going to be in the league. And they can't handle that. And they have it in their minds because that guy came with college hype or he didn't. Russell Wilson has never gotten the respect of that Andrew Luck got and RG3 got. He never did. And right now, if Andrew Luck was still in the league and he was struggling as bad as Russell has struggled this year, Andrew Luck would be getting a pass. And you guys know that for a fact he would be. Andrew Luck would get a pass for this year's performance that Russell Wilson has. It's stupid. It doesn't make much sense. But hating somebody or having a preconceived notion about somebody is far more powerful than anything else. People will put much more work into an effort into destroying something they hate than they will to promoting something they love. And that ratio is probably massive. It sucks, but it's true. What do I think if Tom Brady played for the Cowboys? I think they would be unstoppable. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's not a knock against Dak. That's just Tom is the greatest that's ever played, you know? It's the same thing with San Francisco, you know? Israel sends a $2 super chat. He says, Rams equal worst Super Bowl defending champs ever. Yeah, that's funny how that works, right? That's funny. Major League Coca-Cola? What? Yeah, isn't that interesting that they just forgot how to play football all of a sudden? They just, no. We're Super Bowl champions, but we just don't know what to do anymore. We don't. All of a sudden, Sean McVay is not that great elite coach anymore. Notice how Sean McVay was in the offseason was talking about he might retire, and he was saying that crap so he could get some guaranteed money from the Rams, and they gave it to him. They gave it to him. Yeah. He knew what was up. And now the Ravens, the Ravens are going to be hesitant on Lamar Jackson, giving him money because of what happened with Kyler. And, okay, don't nobody lose their crap. All right, I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray are the same player. But they both are at risk of losing their legs and their running ability. So that's how the Ravens would see it. Blago Darianogo. I just think that I would be very hesitant to give a running quarterback whose main game is running, a lot of guaranteed money. But at the same time, I would never draft a quarterback that is reliant on his legs. So I would not be in that position to begin with. But whatever. Alpha Courage, since a $5 super chat, he says, moment of silence for the passing of Franco Harris, one of the all-time great rushers. Rest in peace. Yeah, and you know, what's weird is that on Tuesday night, we were talking about the Immaculate Reception. And that night, he died. It's like weird, you know? I will tell you this, and I was actually going to bring this up tonight. The Immaculate Reception, I said on Tuesday night that we still don't know if it was even a catch. It is a catch. There's some new footage out, apparently, that wasn't around before, but I didn't know about it. But I saw it today, and he did catch it. It did not hit the ground. What's interesting is that the Raiders had the All-22 film, the game film that the coaches film normally from all sides. And they never would release the All-22. And that was one of the problems with trying to get the right angle for that. It's like the Zapruder film for NFL. You know? It's like, was there two shooters? Was there more than one shooter? Was someone in the grassy knoll? Did Franco Harris catch the ball? So what was the Raiders protecting? They were protecting two things. They were protecting the fact that Franco did catch it. And if it got released that he did catch it, they can't whine and complain like Raiders fans constantly do. That's just what they're good at, okay? Is whining and complaining, saying, oh, the NFL is against this, which it actually might be. But it still doesn't stop them from whining about it. And two, their guy, Tatum, I believe is his name, either touched it or didn't touch it. And depending on that, could have made it an illegal touching or legal play, and then it doesn't count for the Steelers. Now, they release it, and I can't tell. I can't tell if Tatum touched it or not, so I'm not going to judge that. It's really hard to tell. But the Raiders felt like that tape was going to be bad for them, so they decided not to release it for whatever reason. But he did catch it, so very interesting. So Mike Miller just said the Rams. Milena, you listening?
Yeah.
Mike Miller said the Rams got all their key players back and added Bobby Wagner, and they got worse. They got worse. I mean, don't tell me that Odell Beckham Jr. is the difference maker for them. Sorry, no. Okay? And they lost Von Miller, but Von Miller doesn't really turn it on until playoff time. And that certainly wasn't going to save them. If they had Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller right now, that wouldn't completely turn around their season. They're just playing like garbage, you know? So Yeah, Ryan, I remember the Broncos were really bad after the 2015 season. You know, they lost Peyton, and that's what's amazing, guys. Oh, that's a perfect example. When I try to tell people there's more to being a quarterback. Hang on just a second. I think the FBI's at my door. They're Patrick Mahomes fans. Okay. There's more to being a quarterback than just throwing the ball, your on-field play. Okay? Leadership, your aura, the way you carry yourself, how people don't want to let you down. Okay? People believe that they've got you on their team so they can win, so they try harder and they don't give up. And the other team, the opposition, death to the opposition, okay? They outthink themselves because you're on the other team. And these are things that can't be quantified or cannot be put into on a stat sheet, okay? But these are things that matter. The Broncos lost Peyton Manning after 2015. He retires, right? But 2015, he was garbage, all right? He was awful, absolutely awful. But yet they still suck after he leaves. Why? Elf of Courage is a $5 super chat. He says, even after winning the Super Bowl, LA still doesn't want the Rams. LA does not want the Rams, and they never did. Okay? We don't care. This is a Lakers town. That's it. It's a Lakers town and USC and UCLA football, and that's it. Okay? And they love the Raiders here. Just the Raiders should have been here, should have been brought here, but they got screwed over because Stan Kroenke is a crook. Colehan Jared sends a $2 super chat. He says, who wins, 70s Steelers or 80s 49ers? 80s 49ers. But, you know, at the same time, that's kind of, I don't want to say, maybe it's unfair, but the rules are different. So what you can get away with and what you can do is different. So the 49ers offense, the West Coast offense, was opened up quite a bit because of rules that were implemented that the Steelers were able to get away with in the 70s. But if we could just do a neutral setting somehow, I just think that the 49ers offense would be too much. It's too complex for the Steelers defense to handle. And the 49ers defense was just as good as far as in their era. They were a good, solid defense. They could stop people. And they could do enough to stop Bradshaw and Franco and those guys. So I think it would be the 80s 49ers would win by it'd be close, but I think I'd give it to the 49ers. I mean, they've got Joe, and they've got Joe, and Joe, I think, is better than Bradshaw overall. And when everything else is pretty much very close. So, but again, that's an era thing too. And what the 80s 49ers know and the knowledge they have on the sport is because of teams from the 70s. And the 70s team wouldn't have that knowledge and that experience and that knowing what has happened in the past and how to exploit certain things. So then that would be unfair too. So it'd be hard to tell. But I love scenarios like this. It's really interesting. What do you think? Okay, mix of 80s and 70s rules. Yeah, I'd still give it to the 49ers. Cold Blue Water says the athleticism gap between the 70s and 80s was huge. Justin Chetlett says 70 Steelers. Yeah, it's a close. It'd be close. Wouldn't that be just awesome if we could see that somehow? You know, and I'm thinking one day we're going to have technology where we can do these simulations and we can take into account every possible scenario and watch the simulation somehow and see what would happen. That'd be cool. Ooh, the Gourd King. I like it. Gord King says, go neutral and make both teams play by today's rules. Interesting. The 49ers would still have an advantage, though. They would still have the knowledge of exploiting formations and things that the 70s teams didn't know about. So Bill Walsh's West Coast offense that ran so perfectly by Joe Montana would confuse them, and it would cause problems for them. Not that Bill Walsh wasn't coaching in the 70s, but it wasn't developed so perfectly and then executed on the field. You can have a great game plan, but if it's not being executed on the field the way it needs to be, nobody's really going to notice it. And nobody's going to model their game after it. And the Steelers is not going to think about it and watch that. They're not going to care because that's not what the game was. The game in the 70s was running the football, So I still think the 49ers will have the edge. In fact, the 49ers would benefit even more from today's rules. They would even get more. That actually may not be neutral at all now that I think about it. That might make it worse for the Steelers. So, I mean, the Steelers game was based on a different era. The whole game itself was different. Like that's how they did things. So maybe we probably would have to mix rules. We'd probably have to let whatever the Steelers do good at, we'd let them do that, and then whatever the 49ers are great at, you let them do that. I don't know how you could do that exactly, but it would be interesting. But I love these scenarios. I love being posed these questions. They're really fun. So, but yeah, Mike, I agree. An all-time great defense will beat an all-time great offense, but that's only if the all-time great offense's defense isn't also all-time great. And those 49ers defenses were amazing. They were excellent. People overlook them because of Bill Walsh and because of his West Coast offense and because of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and all those guys. People overlook it. But the 49ers defense was legit. All right? Absolutely legit. And nobody seems to remember this. It's amazing. So, Justin Jefferson's awesome. Yeah, Gord King, that's true. He says if the 49ers have the advantage in more eras, then I'd see that as an indicative of them being the better team. And yeah, well, that's just how it is. I could say the same thing, if you take a team from today and suddenly line them up against a team from the past, it's going to be, it might be bad for that team from the past. And it just depends, People seem to think that players from today couldn't handle the things in the past. And a guy just recently posted on my Montana Brady documentary. He said, Tom Brady would never be able to handle the past and back then the way Elway and all those guys getting hit and stuff. And I'm just like, man, my God, dude, Brady is bigger than all of those dudes. Okay. And Tom Brady's been hit more by bigger guys and faster guys than those guys back then. So to say that is one of the dumbest statements you could probably make. That's up there with saying that Bill Belichick needs to be given weapons in order to succeed when he is the one who picks the weapons. It's pretty dumb too, right? It's fascinating that they say this stuff. But these guys today, if they were able to hit and light up people like the 70 Steelers, are you kidding me? I mean, Dude, it'd be a bloodbath out there. There'd be bodies everywhere. We'd have like 47 concussions by the halftime. Seriously. I just don't get this. Just because the rules are different doesn't mean the players are soft. Okay? It's just, look at the quarterbacks today. All right? I remember when Drew Bledsoe was drafted, I thought this guy was a giant. I thought he was, what the hell? How big is this guy? Now, you almost expect your quarterback to be 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". That's what you're wanting. That's normal. These guys weren't that way back in those days. And you're telling me that these quarterbacks can't go? You telling me Josh Allen can't go back to the 70s and play Steeler football? Telling me Tom Brady can't go and you can't put him on the Montana's 49ers? You don't think Tom Brady can take a hit from Leonard Marshall or from Lawrence Taylor? Really? I guess DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller are just pussies, right? They're nothing. They're just they're weak. Nobody has more respect than me for the past and for history. Okay, that's my thing. But I'm also not stupid and unrealistic. Okay? Why don't we go send the 2018 U.S. Marine Corps, okay, or the Air Force, to go fight our guys back in Vietnam? Like, huh? Oh, we know the guys today couldn't handle it. What? It's stupid, okay? Did I miss one, Milena? Yeah. Ryan sends a $2 super chat. He says, if only a city like St. Louis would take in the Rams. Yeah. The 2007 Patriots versus 86 Bears. Normally people say the 85 Bears, but the 86 Bears, they were pretty good too. Oh, the 07 Patriots. That's easy. But again, it goes back to also what kind of, well, even with the rules, you could do the 1985 rules. The 07 Patriots are still going to win. The early dynasty Patriots, the 2000s Patriots, that was the headhunting era. That was the era of let's launch our body like a missile and let's just massacre everybody we can get our hands on. They were used to playing that kind of football. That's one of the reasons why they won so many Super Bowls, is because they played hard, tough football. They played that old school style. So the 07 Patriots had a very similar tone to it. And of course, yeah, the gap is not as big as people might think. The gap between the 07 Patriots and the 1980 style playing, it's not that large. Now, it would be for the Colts. The Colts were definitely, the Colts in the 2000s were the beginnings of what we see today. That's the Colts. That's where the Colts were going and moving towards. It was a finesse offense and a defense that tried to, it wasn't about as much knocking the crap out of people as it was just scheme and how they ran things. So they may have some trouble as far as the way they go about their stuff, but early 2000s Patriots and all that, they actually have an old school type feel to them, and that's the way they were. Yeah, you could run the simulation on Madden, but it wouldn't be the same. What I'm talking about is where we get, like, we take into the AI takes into account everything, every possible piece of information we know about these players, everything you can get on them. Okay, and even if you get their height and their weight and all that and their speed and all the stuff from let's say the combine records or whatever they can get their hands on, and that all takes into account their stats. And how they performed in the league will tell us how well they're going to perform in that game. I mean, I'm talking really, really hardcore pinpoint accurate data, and all of this stuff is applied. And I think one day we'll probably be able to do that. If not already, just somebody has to want to put that together and know how. Okay, I'm trying to catch up with you guys. DC52 says we're already in a simulation. No, actually, he said we're already in a stimulation. I agree. I think VonAllen Sports Live is stimulating. The 49ers were your Tecmo Bowl team. I always played the Houston Oilers. Exactly, Mike. Tom Brady would be Tom Brady in any era, and so would most great players. It's weird, to think that you can't take a quarterback today, a great quarterback today, and not you put them back then. I mean, that they would be raised in the football environment of that, and they would still be good. It's about who they are as a person, and they would just be good at whatever that was. So Cold Blue Water's right. Another reason Brady stands out is that people won't be asking what if. He's on his third decade of dominance. Yep. He's won Super Bowls. Okay, guys, you ready for this? Think about this. Tom Brady has won a Super Bowl in 3 different decades. 3 decades, he has won a Super Bowl. That is ridiculous. So, like Cold Blue Water saying, that's perfect. It's there is no what if. What if you put Tom against this? He's played all these generations. So in the future, there's going to be a reference point immediately. I mean, how many decades is it going to take for the reference point of the 2020 Super Bowl that he won to become questionable now? So Tom's going to make it very hard for people to do the what if game. Justin Chet listens, a $5 super chat. He says, if Brady played against LT, they would claim he couldn't deal with the speed of J.J. Watt or Ware. Yeah, they would say if he brought him to the future, he couldn't. Yeah, no matter what, it's going to be. Yeah, no matter what. So. Yep. Corey Dillon, yeah. Oh no, Corey Dillon's not a Hall of Famer. So. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the roll for the game. And then if there's anything else you guys want to talk about afterwards, we can certainly do that. So okay, so give me just one moment. I'm going to pull up the tournament bracket, and I'll be right back, okay? So just 1 second. All right. I just can't believe we're already at week 16. It's crazy. So whoops. Yeah, for some reason the this camera's not working. The dice, the one for the hmm.
You may have to restart.
Well, I can't do that actually.
The show.
No, I can't do that. It would. Just a second, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get the dice camera to
How's your screen?
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, so I just needed to unplug it and plug it back in, and for whatever reason it wasn't registering. So okay, are we doing good? All right. Okay. So when I call your name, just or when you see your name coming up, go ahead and be ready for what quarterback you want, or I'll roll the dice for you. Okay, so first up, guys, we have, let's see here. We have Nightly Sinister versus Elf of Courage. So I think both of you guys are here. Or still here, I'm pretty sure. 4 and 4. Uh-oh, got to roll again. Remember, gray is top, gold is bottom. Gold goes first. Elf of Courage, you have the first pick in the draft. Begin, sir. Joe Burrow. Come on down. I don't know why I suddenly always want to get into my game show voice when we do this. It just feels, I know, but it just feels, it feels appropriate. So, okay, Nightly Sinister, you're on deck. Kevin. It's all you, my friend. Hey, after we do this, we can talk about the Hall of Fame if you guys want. For those of you who are late night people, you can always stay on. What'd you just say?
What's that?
What's what?
The Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of Very Good, apparently.
That's right.
Okay, so I guess that Nightly Sinister is not going to make a pick, so I'm going to roll for him. He was here earlier. He was talking to me. You know what? Jalen Hurts isn't playing. I forgot to remove him from the thing, so gonna have to roll again. Two again. Okay. Seriously? Six. Dak Prescott. And your statistics will be completions. Oh, that's going to be a close one. Both of those guys usually have similar attempts. It just depends on the situation. That's going to be a good one right there. All right, so Nightly Sinister, you have Dak Prescott, and Joe Burrow. Elf of Courage, you've got Joe Burrow. Good luck, guys. Okay. Can't believe we've only got eight people in the tournament left. Anthony Preston and Diane Tincher. If either of you guys are here, please make your presence known. I'm going to see who can pick first while we're waiting. Yes, number 4, Elf of Courage is completions. So who has more completions? Diane Tincher's first. I didn't see either of them, so I'm going to go ahead and move along. But I'll roll hers first. 12. She gets Tom Brady. That's a good roll because I think Brady's going to have a good game on Sunday night. Of course, because I'm going to be there. So, Anthony Preston. Jalen Hurts again. That's annoying. 6, Dak Prescott. Okay. Your statistic. Seriously? Completions. Looks like Diane is on her way to a victory. We know that the Bucs throw the ball 70 times per game. With 0 play action, no running, and if they do run, it's for no gain. It's just whatever. So, all right. That leaves us with two matchups left here. So we've got Brad Gold versus John Thomas Chavez. I know John's here, so let me roll the dice real quick. Yeah. Stuff like this bothers me. I was using the wrong gold color. Okay. So, who goes first? Silver goes first. That's Brad. I'll roll for Brad. Number 8, Tua. John Thomas Chavez, you were on the clock. Pretty sure he's still here. Who's better, Prime Welker or Prime Edelman? Edelman. It's about doing it when it matters most. Welker could have won us the Super Bowl in 2011 and instead couldn't make a catch. Welker makes those catches. He made those catches in 2014. He made them in the 2016 Super Bowl. He made them in the 2018 AFC Championship game. He makes them when they matter. Okay. It's okay, Anthony. Just a second. So I think John left. So I'm gonna roll for John. Number 7, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I didn't realize how much time had gone by a while ago. It's weird. Time goes by so fast when I'm doing the show. But Anthony, who do you want? I'll put it back for you since you're here. It's okay. Oh, Tua? Okay. So I'll go back in just a second. Okay, I'll go back after I've done these and give you Tua. Okay. Your statistic, Brad and John, is number 1, which is yards. That could be interesting right there. Okay, and our last matchup is the Gourd King versus Mastermind. The Gourd King goes first. Gourd King, come on down. What's going on, guys? Something wrong? Oh, yes. Anthony. Yeah, you know what? I know what you're talking about. You told me personally what happened, what's going on with you in the hospital. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but you just got out. You got out of there, and you managed to make the show. That's awesome. You were awesome. Seriously, that is phenomenal. Thank you so much. You guys are cool. See, we have the coolest following, the coolest channel of anybody. I've watched other live shows and channels and stuff, and the people don't connect like this. I watch them commenting. I kind of look see if other people have that, and they just don't. They just don't. Seriously, we're like a family here. It's crazy. The Gourd King selects Tom Brady, the GOAT. I love it. The Gourd King is riding with his man, even though the season's been kind of weird. Mastermind. I don't think he was here. Did anybody see Mastermind today? Milena, did you see Mastermind at all?
Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Mastermind, you've got 30 seconds to at least let me know that you are alive. DC says, time flies when you're having a good rant. Oh boy, that is true. That is so true. Oh, the Gourd King says John Thomas Chavez wanted Mahomes. Okay, so I'll go back and correct that. He must have. I'm assuming. Well, I have to make sure. Gourd King, he typed that before he left, correct? As in, he typed it before we did this, before he knew the statistic, because it wouldn't be fair if he posted that after the statistic. Okay, he's having internet issues and he told you, oh, he texted you. Okay. All right, that's good enough for me. So, yeah, I figured he would pick if he was here. He was here earlier, so I don't know what happened. But Mastermind is not responding, and Mastermind didn't leave a pick of any kind, so I'm going to roll for him. Okay. Dak Prescott again. What is with this? Watch me roll a 4. I'm sure Gourd King's hoping I roll a 4. I'm tired of rolling 4s. Let's get something different here. Are you serious? Look at this. 4. Well, Gourd King, you might have just gotten a victory off that roll. Okay, so good luck, you guys. Now let me go back real quick. Of a courage, that's correct. So Anthony wants Tua. Okay. Or pick Tua. Okay. And John Thomas Chavez wanted Mahomes. Although when it comes to yards, Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, he got Kirk Cousins. Cousins is good for at least 300 yards. So either way, that's basically the same. In my opinion, is going to probably be similar quarterbacks. So. Okay. But it's good to have Mahomes over Cousins in the sense that if he ties, so let's say Tua and Mahomes have the same amount of completions, then it will go to the tiebreaker will be win or loss, and of course Mahomes has a better chance of getting the victory. So that could benefit you later on, and you always have to think about it in those terms. So, wow, guys. Good luck to you guys. We're getting close. So somebody's going to have a new Xbox soon. Which one of you dudes going to have it? All right. So I'm having some fun right now. I got some good energy. DC, yeah, it's too late to get into this particular tournament. This one's been going on for a while now. It started with, how many people would we have? Like 90 entries or something? I don't know. No, not that many, but there was a bunch. But anyway, me and Milena were thinking about looking into a small tournament for the playoffs. Not sure yet, so don't take that as a definite. We got to think of something. The playoffs are small. There's not very many teams in it. So it's not like this one where we have a game every week and we can narrow it down. But we might think of something, right, Milena? We'll think of something. Yeah. And we'll see. So people who missed out on this can get in on the tournament. And then we're going to start doing this thing every season now. We'll probably be able to do 2 of these per season, two of these per regular season. So, and I think each time, people start to remember, hey, I missed that tournament and I want to get on the next one. And I think each tournament will grow and grow and grow and it'll get bigger and bigger. And, the idea is to get more members and then of course you want the Xbox to pay for itself. And that's the idea. So by getting new members and, over time, that's kind of the point, and building a community here. So the playoff tournament is for a used Nintendo Wii, Alpha Courage says. I like it. What do you think, Milena? A used Nintendo Wii. And not just any Nintendo Wii. It's got to be it's got to have the yellowing of the white parts of it's got to be yellowed. It's got to be really skanky looking. It's got to look like Keith Buckite's Taekwondo uniform. Gord King says, that's an inside joke, by the way. Only my brother's going to understand what that means. The Bucs are the used Wii of the NFL. So that's it. Elva Courage just selected it. So Milena, get on eBay and find the ugliest, grossest used Nintendo Wii you can find, and we're gonna have everybody play a tournament for that one. Alpha Courage has spoken it into existence. He said he's joking, but I think he's actually serious. So we'll get right on that. Cold blue water, damn, that sucks. Man, a lot of crazy crap happening to people lately. It's supposed to be time for Christmas, and it's supposed to be a good time, and bad things aren't supposed to happen right now. The greatest console of all time? Yeah, I'm about to date myself here. The greatest console of all time is the Nintendo. And it's the Nintendo because it changed everything. It's gaming is what it is today because of the Nintendo. Now, that is an opinion of legendary status, or the greatest, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But I think the most fun I've ever had out of a console consistently I have to admit the Super Nintendo was better than the regular Nintendo. That was a great improvement. But I also had a crap load of fun with the original Xbox. So, yeah. DC52, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's what we do here. Anybody who's watching this show, I'm telling you, join, subscribe. You're going to love it here. You can see how we all are. I mean, we welcome everybody. You don't have to be a certain fan of a certain team or whatever. It doesn't matter. We just talk football here. And sometimes we talk other stuff. It just depends. Mike Miller asked, do I think the Bucs will kick into a different gear in the playoffs? I think their effort will be better. I think they'll care more. In fact, I think they're going to start caring more now. I saw some of that in the Bengals game. I actually saw that in the first half, but then they came out in the second half, and what I saw was a different game plan. It was a change in philosophy completely. It was a completely different thing. So it may not be up to the players. If the coaches are setting up their players to fail and calling the wrong plays against the wrong defenses, or calling the wrong defensive formations up against the wrong offense, the players can only do so much. And if you're deliberately sabotaging them. So, and I don't know if Bowles and Byron Leftwich are doing it on purpose or if they're incompetent. Now, I find it hard to believe that they would be doing it on purpose. That would seem crazy to me. What would be the point? What would be the reason? And that's going to cost this season will cost Byron Leftwich a head coaching job. Okay, so doing it on purpose. I mean, I only bring that up because a few people have mentioned that before. I don't think so. Todd Bowles is a different situation. He's got a guaranteed contract, so I'm sure he'd be happy with getting fired and getting to live off millions and millions of dollars for the next 3 or 4 years and not have to do anything. That sounds like a good gig for him. But for Byron, I think he just sucks. I think he just sucks at his job. I think he's a terrible coordinator. So, well, Mike, Tampa, of course, did beat Dallas in week 1, but that was a long time ago. And that might as well be last season as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be a tough one. I don't expect Tampa to win their first playoff game. I don't. So if they win their first, assuming they do get in the playoffs, I don't expect them to even win their first one. That's how pathetic this team is. Okay, so we've got so remember, guys, games start on Saturday this weekend. So at 10 a.m. my time, so 1 p.m. Eastern. Falcons at Ravens. Lions at Panthers. Lions are doing exactly what I thought they would do next year, but they're doing it now, which is strange. So good for them. Oh, okay. The Gord King sends a $5 super chat and says Tampa will go bowls deep this postseason, so about 3 yards. Are you sure they can go 3 yards? Let's not get crazy here. 2.5. 2.5. Bowls deep. That's awesome. Jason says Edelman and Gronk are both teasing a comeback next year. Yeah, something's going on between those three. These are not just random comments or whatever. They're just there's something there. So, and like I said, Tom doesn't seem that stressed out that they're losing. He doesn't seem to care much. I think he mentally is in a place where he knows he's getting the hell out of that cesspool of an organization, and he's moving on. And I feel bad for the Bucs fans, Bucs fans that were fans before Tom got there, because they're going to be left with garbage again. And it's just due to incompetence and not interviewing people when you hire a new coach. They didn't bother to interview anybody. They just gave it to Todd instead of analyzing the situation and looking at his record with the Jets. So I'll admit, I never expected it to be this bad. But my desire before was I wanted to leave Todd as defensive coordinator, just so he could focus on that. So I know we need a balls deep emoji. Absolutely. A balls deep documentary. Interesting. Bills at Bears. Buffalo knows they've got to win this. They've got to keep up with the Chiefs for the number 1 seed. They're going to play their butts off. And Buffalo don't care about wind and rain or snow or whatever Chicago can throw at them because they're from Buffalo, so it makes no difference. So they're not. And if this was the Dolphins going to Chicago, I'd say, yeah, good luck. But this is Buffalo, and they're going to take that. Saints at Browns. Cleveland Browns are going to win. Eddie, get excited. Eddie, where are you, Eddie? Seattle Seahawks, or as according to Milena, the Seattle, what was it? What'd you call them, Milena?
I'm trying to think. Birdie? I don't know.
The
Seagulls.
Yeah, Seattle Seagulls. So I was asking Milena to name each team in each division. She said the Seattle Seagulls. Milena, NFC North. The Great Lakes. Packers, absolutely the Packers. Who else? The Bears, absolutely. Who else? Yep, the Vikings. Who else? You got one more.
The Lions.
Yep, the Lions. Very good. She's been memorizing each team in each division, so I just throw a division at her. I always tell her it's the Great Lakes division. That's how she remembers the NFC North. Giants at Vikings. Giants need this win badly for a playoff spot. The Vikings know that they can pretty much, they're okay. They're gonna probably, they're gonna win their division. I don't think anybody can catch up with them at this point. But I never bought into the Giants, guys. I just don't really think that they're that good, and they never have been. I like the Vikings for this one. Bengals at Patriots. So, am I really going to sit here and after watching what the Bengals did to the Chiefs and then what they did to the Bucs and think that all of a sudden Matt Patricia's vaunted offense in New England is somehow going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow when Joe Burrow is working on a playoff push right now? Am I to believe that the same New England Patriots that threw a lateral, that Stevenson threw a lateral back to Jacoby Myers, and Jacoby Myers was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to show everybody how good of a thrower I am. And throws it right to Chandler Jones. Nobody could have put that better than Jim Rome did, if you guys saw that short uploaded. But is that team really going to beat the Bengals? Who they think going to beat them Bengals? Remember that? The Bengals are going to win this one. Ouch. The Patriots are going to be 7-8 after Saturday. That sucks. That really sucks. Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. I do not believe in the Titans anymore. I think that they have no idea what they're doing and they're a completely confused team. and the Texans have been playing people difficult. I don't care. The Titans are going to win that one. Although I like the effort I see from Houston. If the Bucs played with the same effort the Houston Texans play with, the Bucs would be doing really well right now. Okay. Commanders. Oh, the DC Lizard people at the San Francisco 49ers. Until further notice, I'm picking the 49ers against any team they play. Eagles at Cowboys. Jalen Hurts is hurt. Look at that. It worked out. So we've got the GOAT, Gardner Minshew. He's back, guys. The GOAT is back. The GOAT of mustached quarterbacks. Jeff Hostetler had a pretty nice mustache too. But still, Gardner Minshew looks like a guy when you read the headline, Florida man murders girlfriend. Okay? That's Gardner Minshew. But I love him. I think he's awesome. I don't think that the Eagles will really miss Jalen Hurts all that much. I don't think he's kind of the reason why the Eagles are as good as they are. We'll find out. So we're going to find out for sure. But Dallas needs this, and they want this badly, and it's in Dallas. I like Dallas to win this one. The Eagles have been slipping quite a bit here and there, even with Jalen Hurts playing. So it would be fun, though, to see Gardner get the victory. Raiders at Steelers. Well, the Raiders coming off that amazing victory, that well thought out last play of the game where the Raiders thought, you know what? It's tie game, but the Patriots are so stupid that they're going to throw the ball back to us and we're going to score a touchdown. Okay? So the Raiders are going to build off that exquisite play calling and brilliant football. And they're going to beat the Steelers. On Sunday, we've got the Packers at Dolphins. Green Bay. Green Bay is going to win again, and they're going to try to sneak in there, hoping everything goes in their direction. Let's see if they can get in there. I mean, that stupid participation trophy 7th seed really screws things up. It's allowing for really bad teams to get in. Broncos at Rams. Wow. This is like battle of the crappy. It's like, who's going to suck least, right? Who's going to lose more? I like Baker and the Rams for that one. Buccaneers at Cardinals. I'm going to be at that game. So, Tom Brady is not going to let me down, okay? He knows I'm coming there. He's nervous. He even did an interview the other day. He said, I don't always get nervous. I mean, I get a little nervous in Super Bowls. I get nervous in, championship games, but I've never been as nervous as I am for this Sunday's game because Æron VonAllen's going to be there. And he doesn't want to let me down. So he doesn't want to let you guys down. He knows that VonAllen Sports is going to be on location. Monday Night Football. Oh, I'm going to Bucs, by the way. Monday Night Football. Chargers at Colts. The Colts. Pathetic. Chargers. So there you go. What else is there to say, really? A lot of these matchups are just pointless. So, yeah. The dumpster ball. How many Brady games have I been to? 3. Well, I mean, no, 2. This will be my 3rd. Sorry. You like this shirt, Jason? Yeah, Gord King. The Seattle Seahawks for the first all-girls NFL team when it happens one day. Yeah. It'll be all guys, but they'll identify as girls. It'll definitely be, it would definitely be the Seattle Seahawks. Absolutely. Guys, if you're new here, please subscribe. Please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, you can't survive. Because you have to have your weekly dose of VonAllen Sports, or the Tomicron variant will take you out. Cord King. The Cord King, since the $2 super chat, he says Philadelphia was keeping their secret weapon stashed away. I like it. Jason says Dolphins head coach murders boyfriend. Dude, I swear to God, that guy creeps me out. Seriously. So, it's so true. McDaniel is very, very creepy. You guys were talking about something Hall of Fame related earlier. Let's see. I think that maybe that was... Let me find it. Gordon King says, you know how everyone says Kobe when they throw the trash away? Now they can just say Jacoby when they miss badly. That's perfect. I love Gardner Minshew, and I hope he plays really well. I just think the Eagles, they kind of know that they're good and they're kind of going to coast, and Dallas is going to play like lights out. That I don't even think it's going to have anything to do with Gardner. It's, I think he'll be fine. That'd be awesome to see him win, though. Remember, guys, the team with the most points is probably going to win. Whoever has more points than the other team, when the clock strikes 0 in the fourth quarter, that's probably your winner. So weird. John Madden had a way of saying things that were just so simplistic, but for some reason we thought it was brilliant. I guess because it was John. Okay, I found the Hall of Fame conversation. Is Big Ben a Hall of Famer? Mike Miller asked. Well, this goes back to the based off of what we've seen already happen, or would I let him in if I was in charge of the Hall of Fame? So those are two different things. Very different things. So let's just say first that I'm now in charge of the Hall of Fame. The first thing I'm going to do is kick out half of the people in it. So I'm just going to call their relatives and say, hey, or them themselves, if they can do it, say, hey, can you move your butt up here and come get your bust and leave? Go out. Okay? So already it would be like, it cut in half. Hell, it might even be more than that. I don't know. I'd have to really, really take a look at it. So we get that established first. And with that said, no, he would not be. But Ben will get into the Hall of Fame, and he is a Hall of Famer according to the way they've been doing things, the way they've been picking things. So yes. So let's just go. So I'm gonna carry this conversation now, assuming we're going with what they are going to do and how they believe. So when I say is he or isn't he, if this person is or isn't a Hall of Famer, I'm going to base it off what their own set of rules and criteria and how they will do things. Okay. So Ben, yes. Yeah. So Ben, yes. What about Eli Manning? No. Okay. No. Unfortunately, they won't abide by their own rules, and they won't abide by what's correct, and they're going to give it to him. They will. They're just going to give it to him. If his name was anything other than Manning, and if he hadn't beaten the Patriots, then hell no. Not even close. Not even close. Eli Manning has never been even one of the best 5 quarterbacks in any season. You know, much less a Hall of Famer. It's absurd. I wouldn't let either of them in. I wouldn't let Phillip Rivers in either. The thing about Ben, and the tricky thing, Ben is the hardest one to judge, really, because he has had seasons where he was an excellent quarterback and he was one of the best quarterbacks. The problem for him, though, is, yeah, he's got 2 Super Bowl wins, but he was never he had nothing to do with the first one. I know he had a rushing touchdown that did not cross the line, by the way. That should have never been called, but we can't use that against him, of course, in a real conversation. But he had the worst performance of any winning quarterback, I believe. Although Patrick Mahomes has the honor of having the worst performance of any quarterback that won the Super Bowl MVP. So even worse than Peyton Manning's in 2006. So Patrick has that honor. Good for him. But Hall of Fame to me means so much more. But yeah, I think that they're going to end up letting Phillip in too. It sucks. Julian Edelman, no. What's the quarterback Hall of Famer line? What player isn't good enough to be in, but if you're better than him, you're in? Ken Anderson? Okay, listen, guys. My standards for getting into the Hall of Fame are really weird. Like, really would be considered way off from what the Hall of Fame does today. I personally wouldn't let in Kurt Warner. I wouldn't let in Warren Moon, probably. So I certainly, wouldn't let Philip and Eli and Ben in. Okay. When you let in a Hall of Famer, okay, and the reason I mentioned Warren Moon and Kurt Warner is because they're two of my favorite quarterbacks ever. So I have a bias there, and I still wouldn't let them in. But when you put a guy in, okay, you give them a bust, there is no differentiation between the two. Okay, it's similar to when they did the top 100, this 100 all-time team, right? When you're selected, there's not like, oh, this guy is a bit different. All people see in the Hall of Fame, they see the statues, okay, and it means you're equals. That's what it signifies. There's no way you can walk in the Hall of Fame and see a bust of Eli, Philip, and Ben next to Joe Montana, next to Tom Brady, next to Peyton Manning, next to John Elway, Johnny Unitas, and go, they're the same quarterback. And the difference between the best Hall of Fame quarterbacks and the worst ones after those three get in, it's going to be enormous. The drop-off is going to be enormous. Can you say that Eli Manning was any better than an average journeyman quarterback was? Can you say that he was any better, and consistently, was he any better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? He's got those 2 Super Bowls. Okay. But the first one, first of all, he shouldn't even have been MVP for that. And it should have been a defensive player on the Giants. But you can't say that he was just playing lights out in that Super Bowl or something. But he's going to get more credit than he deserves because of it being the Patriots. And the hatred for the Patriots and the bias against them is going to be why he gets in. But if you took that to the side and we just looked at everything as a career. Now, in my opinion, you have to have both, or if you don't have both, championships and career good consistent stats where you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league every year. If you don't have both of them, you need one of them, and that one thing is so extraordinary that it can't be questioned. Okay? Dan Marino has that one thing that is so extraordinary, the year in and year out, is so crazy good that it can overcompensate and help him with not having a ring. If someone wants to say Troy Aikman, okay? Troy Aikman's got 3 rings. That overshadows quite a bit what he's done. But also, Troy was not a terrible quarterback. Troy was a pretty good quarterback even year to year. He was pretty damn good. So you can't compare him to Eli. You can't say, oh, well, Eli's got 2 rings, so Eli should be applied. No, Eli was terrible, guys. People don't understand. Eli sucked. All right? Absolutely awful. Now, again, we're just judging quarterbacks here. And so you've got to have those the balance heavy to one side if you don't have the other. Now, if you've got both, you're good. You're good to go. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that if you've got a bunch of Super Bowls and you've performed well when it mattered, and you've got good stats, and you were probably the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of your era. Dan was that without the Super Bowls. I would say he is probably, though, the only case like that where you've got, it's so exceptional that we overlook it. Bradshaw has 4 rings. Nobody really thinks of Terry when it comes to being a really proficient quarterback, but he does have regular season MVP, and that means that he was the best player in the league that year. You can't give that to Eli. You can't say Eli was ever that. Phillip Rivers, he's never even played in a Super Bowl. How in the hell are you going to give him the Hall of Fame just for having bulk numbers, just for hanging around? Okay? Just for being around long enough to get those numbers? He's never been MVP. He's never even, that I know, he's never even sniffed MVP. And he's never even played in a Super Bowl. You know, even Matt Ryan won an MVP and got his team to the Super Bowl. And Matt Ryan's going to have more stats than Phillip, most likely. So are we putting Matt in now? I'm just wondering, like, how far does this go? If Jared Goff continues to play, and if he lasts until, you know, if he can play 17, 18 seasons, Jared Goff is going to have more stats than Phillip and Matt. And he's got a Super Bowl appearance because he lost to the Patriots in 2018. Is he getting in too? I mean, what are we doing here? So, no, Phillip, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's enough. I think you've got to prove that you are one of the best of your era. And when I say one of the best, I don't mean top 10. That's not enough. I'm talking top 2, top 3. Okay? You've got to at least be in the conversation of top 3. Maybe it can leak over to 4. Maybe. But you're outside of that, you're really going to have trouble. And those 3 guys were never any of those things. There was never a time in Ben or Phillip's or Eli's career that we said, oh, they're the best quarterback, or they're the second best quarterback, or they're the third best quarterback. We've never, ever seen that. We've never seen it. It's never been considered. In an era when you played with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and you Drew Brees, and you're going to get in with them, even though they achieved all that stuff that you couldn't achieve. So you played in the same era they did. They got the job done. You couldn't get the job done, and we're going to reward you. So we're going to reward Phillip for not even getting to the Super Bowl. So I think Phillip's the most egregious one of the 3. That's going to bother me because he never even got to the Super Bowl. That's the one that's really, really going to be like, what? Are you kidding me? But they're going to let him in. You know they are. Yeah, their stats aren't that impressive. I mean, it's just not enough. So I don't know. Like I said, the best argument is for Ben. Ben has got the best case, okay? Ben is the one that if he gets in, I'm not really going to be like, what? You know, I can live with it, okay? 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl rings. And there were years where he was MVP candidate and he was statistically excellent. So, and I don't remember Ben being like terrible or anything consistently like that. It was like rare if Ben sucked. So he's the one that if of the group of those 3 of the 2004 draft class that I wouldn't freak out over. But Eli and Phillip, no, sorry. So, not going to happen. It shouldn't happen, I mean. Corey Dillon? No. What players that aren't in the Hall of Fame should be? Well, that's difficult to answer because I'm all about removing people, not adding more. And the ones that I agree should be in are already in. So the biggest problem I have was when T.O. had to wait 3 years to get in. I thought that actually damaged the Hall of Fame. It damaged its credibility and its prestige in my eyes. It did. It lessened it. So that's what happens when you have sports writers and journalists voting for this stuff. I mean, I may be a little too harsh for most people, but it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good. You know, it's supposed to be excellent. And like I said, when you're putting a guy next to guys like Brady and Peyton and Joe Montana, they better have been and met that excellence and of their era and been that guy of their era. So otherwise you need to move Joe and Tom and those guys to a different wing and give them a different category. So okay, I'm finally catching up with you guys now. I could have sworn Oh. Wait, okay. Oh, we got one more. Okay. Kevin Garnett, since a $5 super chat. If you had to choose a prime meridian for Hall of Fame quarterbacks, who would you pick? Honestly, I guess after everything I've said, I'd go with Ben. I think that's it. I think that's the line. I think that's where you stop it. I think he barely makes it. You know, he barely gets there, and I think that's where the cutoff should be. Like I said, Eli may have 2 Super Bowls, but he's garbage outside of everything else, and it's just not right. But Ben does have stats year in and year out, so Philip, no, absolutely not. You know, there's some other things that I think are bad. It's about getting in versus first ballot. Megatron is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, okay, and that was a mistake on their part. Or how about the 100-year anniversary thing, where this is from that 2019 year, and where they let in Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson and whoever the hell else they could find. They were like, "Oh, did you coach in football for more than 3 years? You're in." You know? Okay. Like they were letting everybody in. It was a open door policy. So Terry Bradshaw wasn't on the 100. No, he didn't make the top. No, he didn't make it. He wasn't picked for that. Yeah, that was strange. I mean, I didn't expect that actually. They went with who'd they go with? I remember being surprised. They went with Roger Staubach. I know that. But did they put in Fran Tarkenton? You guys remember? Did Fran get? Did they select Fran Tarkenton? I don't. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I remember being surprised that Bradshaw wasn't one of them. So. But we're going back to T.O. T.O. having to wait 3 years is nonsense. So you can't give Megatron first ballot. And you should have made Randy wait, okay? Now, I'm not saying Randy should have waited. I'm saying if we're going to go by their stupidity of T.O., then Randy had to wait. And like you just said, Gordon King, then Antonio Brown's never getting in, okay? So it's just, this is dumb. I mean, like, what are they doing here? And it's just, I don't know anymore. And I never thought before that we would have to say, well, make a difference. I'd have to like separate what I think is the Hall of Fame versus what they think is the Hall of Fame. I never thought we'd have to do that. And I remember a time where that wasn't the case. But now I've started to question it more and more because it's just ridiculous. So. What's up, Mr. A? Look who's arrived. Look who's on the scene, Milena.
Yeah.
See, if I stay live long enough, Mr. A shows up. It's like Beetlejuice. If you say his name enough, he shows. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Mr. Automotive, Mr. Automotive, Mr. Automotive. Shows up. Boom. That's my quarterback. See, the thing about Randy that always bothered me is that he would take plays off and he'd be lazy sometimes. And that I can't stand that. T.O. would never do that to you. Not in a million years. He just had a big mouth. Mr. Automotive, since a $10 super chat, he says, let's go. Boom. Let's go. By the way, guys, if you guys like this shirt, you can order it from our store. Let me see. Make sure. I'll get the link for you, in fact. It should be in the description already, but I can go ahead and put it in the comments. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay. I don't. All right. Well, whatever. Apparently not. So. If only I need an employee or something to do stuff for me. whatever. Well, there is a link somewhere in this universe that you can get the shirt. What a great idea. Wow. I don't know. I figured after me doing it for 10 minutes, it might have made sense. Thank you, Mr. A, so much. I appreciate it, my friend. Mike Miller says, T.O. played a Super Bowl on a broken leg and had over 100 receiving yards. T.O. did not score a touchdown in that game, but he did have over 100 receiving yards on a broken leg. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I? His super chat about the turf? No, I didn't see that. Oh, there it is. Yes. So sorry. Cool Hand Jared sends a $5 super chat. He says, thoughts on players talking about turf causing injuries? Yeah, that's legit, man. It depends, you know. It depends on how or what kind they use. Like some different stadiums use different types, but real grass is always the best. But if you use real grass, you've got to take care of the field. You know, like I think the very best that you can get is what the Cardinals do. The Arizona Cardinals stadium, the entire field wheels in and out. So it pulls out like a drawer, like a sock drawer. It pulls out open and it's in the sun. And then they slide it back into the stadium, and it keeps it perfect, you know. So I think that's the best, you know, way of keeping up with the ground. Now, then you've got terrible. When I say real grass, you've got terrible grass like in Pittsburgh and Chicago, and I almost wonder if they do that on purpose. So. Yeah, the new Raiders stadium also does the same thing. Yeah. Yep. I remember watching the Cardinals field do that. It was really cool. I've never seen that before. I don't know if it's been done before, but I'd never seen it before. So yeah, Milena just posted the link to the this shirt if you guys want to get it. Yeah, it's different colors too.
Black and gray.
Blacker says, I get the NFL was different in the 30s and 40s, but how can a guy with more interceptions and touchdowns by a margin like that make it on the top 100? Who are we talking about? Are you talking about Sammy Ball? Yeah. Okay. Sammy Ball. Yeah. Well, there again, stats are not really the thing. It's, are you the best of your era at the time for what it was? And that was normal to have a lot of interceptions back in those days. It was, you know, not a big deal. We don't look at it like we do now. We didn't look at it they didn't look at it back then the way we see it now. It was just a different game. And so they're going to look at it for what it is, compared to everybody else. So if everybody else sucked, then the least sucky guy of that era is going to be selected. If that makes any sense. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying that's a extreme case. So like if every quarterback in the 30s and 40s was just god awful, you still would have to select the least awful of the group, and you pick them for the top 100. That's what the thinking process is. I'm assuming. So to look at it as in the touchdown interception ratio, it's just, I agree with you. It's hard to look at that and go, what? But they had to pick somebody, I think, I'm just going by what I think that was their thinking. They had to pick somebody from that era, so they went with him. So I think that's what they were doing. He was also a pioneer, and one of the originals that really made passing what it is, and made it part of the game in that way. And so it wasn't as it wasn't polished. It wasn't, so it's just picks happened. They just the way it was. Yeah, Cole Hand Jared, about the turf again. The thing about the guys getting injured right now is their training and their ability is exceeding what exceeding what their actual body can handle. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I think is happening. So I think a lot of these guys need to be more limber too. And I mean, you can't stop every injury, but a lot of these injuries are a bit, some of them are preventable, in my opinion. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Like I told you guys, the reason we're doing the show tonight is because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow to Phoenix. I'm going to be watching all the games from my cell phone on the airplane. So, and airport, I should say. I'll probably spend more time in the airport than I will actually in the air. But Sunday night, I will be at the Cardinals Bucs game. It's Sunday Night Football on NBC. So maybe you'll see me. I'll be like, of course. So. Monday night football, of course, but I will be back for Tuesday's reaction show. I am going to try to connect with you guys though Sunday from the game. Okay, so keep an eye on that. That'll be fun. Merry Christmas. Yes, Mr. Automotive. Tell Todd Bowles to stop smiling. I think he's just so dumb that he's blissfully ignorant. He's just, So I don't think he can help it. I do get a kick out of Mr. A every day, constantly typing in Legion about how Todd Bowles is such a moron. It's funny. It really is. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. Okay. Have a good night, guys.
This is Patriots linebacker, Super Bowl 49 champ, Darius Fleming, and you're watching VonAllen Sports. Real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now. Join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
VonAllen Sports.